Good afternoon, everyone. I want to call this meeting of the West Haymarket JPA to order. I am Lyrin Gaylor-Baird, and to my right is Regent Tim Clare. Tim Beckius won't be with us this afternoon. As we proceed, the clerk will call each item, and we will take a presentation from staff, followed by public comment. Each speaker, if they could please state their name and address for the record, and note that testimony is limited to 5 minutes, we'd be grateful. And with that, I would ask Casey to please call the first item.
Number 3, approval of the minutes from the JPA meeting held December 12th, 2024.
Second. Moved by Claire, seconded by Gaylor-Baird. Please call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor-Baird?
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0. Next item 4, bill number WH25-1, resolution approving a contract between the West Haymarket JPA and CL Construction for a loading dock roof extension for the Pinnacle Bank Arena with costs not to exceed $37,956.
Good afternoon, Chris Connolly, City Law Department. This is a contract to create kind of an awning or a cover on the truck loading dock. At the bottom of the loading dock, there's kind of a projection that sticks out that prevents the truck from backing all the way up to the dock, such that when you open the door, everything is still covered. And so, and it's about a 2-foot gap, I think, that is exposed. And so when trucks are being loaded or unloaded, rain or snow can come down, and that projection that sticks out from the loading dock can get icy. And so this is a way of making like a canopy over top of that so that it's protected from the elements. And so with that, we would ask approval.
Questions? Thank you, Chris. Would anyone from the public like to testify on this item? And I should have noted in my introduction that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the back of the chamber. Welcome, Ms. Kinsey.
Jane Kinsey, Watchdogs. We don't have any kind of statement of the balance sheet today.
No.
Okay, this is like 20, it's 1.5 million today about, and then there was 9 points, so 20.5 million's been spent on the arena.
You know, Ms. Kinsey, we are on item 4, which is the resolution approving a contract with CL Construction for $37,956. If you want to comment on that item, you are welcome to, but if you want to talk about other items not on the agenda, I'm sure we could find time after the meeting to interface with our JPA staff, and we will be going through the payment registers at a future JPA meeting. That'll happen at a regularly scheduled time. Chris, do you know what date we'll next meet and do that?
April, it's in April.
April 29th.
April 29th.
Yeah.
So this, and there's nothing on here that says this is the lowest contract either, or the lowest bid?
I will tell you that this did go through a bid process, and yes, it was the lowest responsible bidder.
Uh-huh. Will that be for all of them?
Anything yes, everything that's on here, I believe, would have gone through a bid process.
But doesn't state that.
Duly noted. Any further comment from the public? Okay. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion on item 4. Seconded. Moved by you know who the two of us are. I'm not going to say who's. It's going to be the same pairing every time. Yeah, please call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor-Baird?
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0. Next, item 5, bill number WH25-2, resolution approving a contract between the West Haymarket JPA and Winstead Company for control room consoles for the Pinnacle Bank Arena with cost not to exceed $21,395.
Okay, the security office in Pinnacle Bank Arena is expanding, reorganizing a little bit, and So they have a need for additional furniture, which is really what this is. This is the console. There's another piece on here that we'll be talking about in a little bit, but this is the console or furniture piece of this expansion, so the security folks can put their monitors and their computers and stuff on it and that sort of thing. And we would ask for approval.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Oh, thank you. Would anyone like to comment on item 5? All right, seeing none, I entertain a motion on item 5. Seconded. Casey, please call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0. Next, item 6, bill number WH25-3, resolution approving a contract between the West Haymarket JPA and American Fence of Lincoln for an automatic fence for the Pinnacle Bank Arena with cost not to exceed $59,955.21.
Okay, on this item, currently the access to the truck loading dock area has a gate that is manually operated, which means somebody has to come out of the security office, unlock it, and open it, and then close it back up again once the truck is in there. And that's taking somebody out of the security office and perhaps not being able to maintain their view on all the monitors and such. And so this will be an automatic gate that whoever's in the security office will be able to see on a monitor, and they can open it remotely from the office and then close it as well. And so it's really a security measure needed for Pinnacle Bank Arena, and we would ask for approval.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Would anyone like to speak on item 6? Okay, seeing none, entertain a motion on item 6. Seconded. I'm sorry, I didn't give you a chance for discussion on any of the previous items. Do you have any comments? Okay. All right, please call the roll, Casey.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0. Next, item 7, bill number WH25-4, resolution authorizing the chairperson and/or purchasing agent to issue a purchase order to the lowest responsive bidder, Lincoln Wind Electric Company, for exterior lighting for the roof of the Pinnacle Bank Arena for a sum not to exceed $315,470.78.
So this item, this is the purchase of product. It is for all the exterior lights around the top of the and around the exterior of Pinnacle Bank Arena and the communications towers that are on top of the building as well. And so this does not include the installation costs. That'll come up later in the agenda, but it is for the product. There are some fixtures that I understand are fixtures that are actually bad, but this will also put in all new LED lighting, replacing at least some incandescent lighting, I believe, that was there previously. So there should be some energy savings as we move forward as well. And so with that, we would ask approval.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm just going to see if there's any public comment. Yeah. Would anyone like to comment on item 7? All right. Would you like to make a motion, Regent Claire?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
So moved.
Seconded. Please call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0. Next, item 8, bill number WH25-5, resolution approving a contract between the West Haymarket JPA and Avase for new speakers for the Pinnacle Bank Arena Center Hung with cost not to exceed $18,807.
Okay, so we've ordered a new scoreboard to be put in, and these are new speakers that would go along with it. The old speakers would not, would not fit in or interface as well. And so we are asking for new speakers to be attached to and hang from the new scoreboard when it's built, and ask for approval.
Any questions for Chris? All right, would anyone like to comment on item 8? All right, seeing no one coming forward, I'd ask for a motion on item 8.
Move approval.
Seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0. Next, item 9, bill number WH25-6, resolution authorizing the chairperson and/or purchasing agent to issue a purchase order to the lowest responsive bidder, Aviate Enterprises, for a new cleaning auto scrubber for the Pinnacle Bank Arena for a sum not to exceed $89,123.25.
This is a machine that scrubs the floors inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. I suppose they could have gotten a bunch of room bots and laid them out and just let them scurry around, but they're buying a bigger machine instead. And as described, it was bid out, and so we would ask approval.
Okay, any questions? Would anyone like to testify on this item? Seeing none, ask for a motion.
Move approval.
Second, any further discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0. Next, item 10, bill number WH25-7, resolution approving a unit price contract with Wired Inc. for retrofit lighting at the Pinnacle Bank Arena for a total amount not to exceed $30,195.
Okay, so we talked about the purchase of the lights for $315,000, and this contract would be for the actual installation of those lights. This is a unit price contractor that the City of Lincoln uses, and so all the background checks had been done, and they did submit a bid, and theirs was the lowest, and so we would ask for approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Chris?
No, I would like the record to reflect that our office has done work for Wired Inc. Nothing that creates conflict. I talked with Chris about this during the
That's correct, and he and I did discuss this, and I did make the determination that there is not a conflict for Board Member Claire in this matter. He's not representing them in this contract.
Okay. Thank you. Would anyone like to testify on item 10? All right, seeing none, I'd ask for a motion.
move approval.
Second, any further discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0. Next, item 11, bill number WH25-8, resolution approving a contract between the West Haymarket JPA and Harvest AV Solutions for annual service for follow spots at the Pinnacle Bank Arena with cost not to exceed $101,685.
Okay, so this is for replacement of 4 spots, I believe, that are in there. We replaced 2 of them last year, and we're replacing 4 more. There may be 1 or 2 others, but these are all original equipment, so these dated back a long time, and they're at the end of their useful life. And so this is a part of the show process, and so we would ask approval.
Okay, thank you. Regent Claire, any? Okay. Would anyone like to testify on this item?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. Why do some of these have the lowest price stated and some don't?
It was just the way that the blurb was written up, but I can tell you that they all went through a bid process through the city purchasing department.
Okay, but there's no formal statement of that for some of these.
It's not required.
It isn't.
It's not required to be stated in there. We did do the process, which is required, but it's not required that we state it on the agenda.
Is there some reason why some is and some not?
No, and we'll work to be more consistent next time, one way or the other, either way.
Thank you.
It looks like it's specifically stated when the resolution authorizes the chair or the purchasing agent to issue a purchase order. Items 7 and items 9 contain the language and the purchase order language. And I believe that may be the difference.
Yeah, I think it's correct either way,
Okay.
quite frankly.
All right. Thank you. Would anyone else like to testify on this item? All right. Any further discussion? Please call the roll. Or, sorry, a motion, please.
I will move approval.
Oh, Thank you, Regent Claire. I will second your motion. Please call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0. Next, item 12, bill number WH25-9, resolution approving a contract between the West Haymarket JPA and Nebraska Hoist and Crane for annual service for scoreboard cabling replacement at the Pinnacle Bank Arena with costs not to exceed $47,926.84.
With the new scoreboard going in, we certainly wanted to make sure that the hoist and the cabling system is all in good shape, and that's what this contract will do. Apparently we had some good luck in that only the cabling needed to be replaced. Other portions of the hoist, in particular the motor, did not have to be replaced. And so it's not as expensive as it could have been. In any event, we would ask approval.
Sounds like the rationale I use when I'm telling my husband that I got a good
We would like
deal.
it to hold the scoreboard.
It's not as expensive as it could have been, honey.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Chris? Okay. Would anyone like to comment on item 12? All right. Entertain a motion.
I move approval.
I second that. Please call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0. Next, item 13, bill number WH25-10, resolution accepting the financial audit and management letter and report from Forvis Mazars for the period ending August 31st, 2024.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Dowlinger. I'm the finance director for the city of Lincoln. In your packet today, there's an audit report and management letter from Forvis for the fiscal year ending 8/31/2024. In summary, we had a clean audit. It indicates an unmodified opinion, which means no material findings. And then I had a couple of things I pointed out that I know Regent Claire has asked me about in my first board meeting. So I saw those on page 8 of the audit report, and I thought I would just touch on them briefly before I invite Chris Linder up. One was the fund balance assigned for debt service at approximately $46 million. And that represents about 2 years of the total debt service obligations for West Haymarket JPA. And then the occupation tax collections for the fiscal year. Those tax receipts were $22.3 million, and that exceeded our original projections by $6.9 million, or 45%. And that put the forecast at about what was originally contemplated to be received around the year 2043. With that, Chris Lindner with Forvis is here today, and I'll invite him up to talk through the report.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Joe. Good afternoon, Mayor and Regent Claire. Chris Lindner, audit partner with Forvis Mazars. Happy to report the audit results for the JPA again this year for fiscal 24. As Joe mentioned, I think that the first thing to highlight and the most important thing within the packet, within the packet you would have received, the audit report and the communication letter, that management letter, the opinion is a clean or unmodified opinion. And so noting that part of our responsibility as part of the audit is looking at those financial statements that are prepared by JPA management. The numbers are not our numbers; those are management's numbers that we come in, we audit, we make sure that those numbers are accurate and that they're presented in accordance with GAAP. And so we did not take exception to those numbers. We did not have adjustments to those numbers, no material corrections or errors in those numbers, and we felt that they were materially accurate and presented accordingly. And so we issued a clean opinion, so the highest level of assurance that can be granted as part of our audit process. As well, that the first thing as part of the audit process is that the financial opinion, with the JPA being a joint public agency between the university and the city. There's also a second opinion in the back in accordance with government auditing standards, and so there's also an opinion in accordance that's some testing around internal control over financial reporting. So that then, as part of our audit process, if we identified material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, if there were, like I mentioned, material errors in the numbers, if we came in and found significant adjustments or significant corrections that needed to be made for those numbers to be accurate, that would be a control issue that we would have to report. Or if, as part of our control assessment, there were segregation of duties issues that indicated a significant control finding or issue there as well, that would be something we would report in that second opinion. So we did not have anything that needed to be reported in that second opinion as well. So not in a sense, you don't consider that an unmodified or a clean opinion, but kind of a similar level of assurance if you look at it without having a finding in that second opinion there as well. Within the management letter then, just touching on a few things in there, it looks at what our responsibilities are from an auditor standpoint, what management's and also the board's responsibilities, really that understanding that our responsibility is to issue that opinion on the financial statements, and the responsibility for the financial statements themselves, really rests with the board and management ultimately at the end of the day. Looks at some of the items within the financial statements from significant estimates, some of the disclosures therein, and then it talks about, like I mentioned, any audit adjustments, errors in the financials. We did not have any as part of our 2024 audit process. So again, happy to report that within the communication letter, noting none. Definitely good audit results overall from both results within the letter and also the no control findings, able to report both in the opinion and within the letter itself. So with that, we'll open it up to any questions you may have.
Okay. Do you have any questions? No, no questions, but thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
work. Okay. Joe?
Yeah.
All right. Joe, could you come back up for a question?
Yes, sir.
You indicated that you have like 2 years of being able to pay the debt service. Is that assuming no extra revenue coming in, given our balance?
Yeah, that's just taking the fund balance that's assigned for debt service in the audit report. That's about $46 million on 8/31. And comparing that to our annual debt obligation, which is about 23.3 million. So it's a simple 46 divided by 23.
So we could not, said differently, if we don't take in another dime, we have the ability to make 2 years of principal and interest payments on our bond obligations.
Yeah, I think you could look at it that way.
And then today we spent approximately $720,000. What is, so given the math of where you're at today, if we'd spend all this today, which we're not, but if we spent all this today and not take in another dime, we're still in good shape financially, and our ability to pay our debt service is still approximately 2 years down the road.
Yeah, I would say that.
And it's not realistic to assume that we're not going to take any new occupation tax monies in, but I just wanted to illustrate the point that we are solid financially.
Yes, we're in a good position financially. There's quite a bit of buffer with what we've collected with our occupation taxes that would prevent us ever needing to use our general obligation backstop.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Would anyone from the public like to testify on item 13? Seeing no interest in public comment, I will ask for a motion.
I will move.
All right, second. Any further discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
motion carried 2-0. The next meeting date will be Thursday, April 29th, 2025 at 2:30 p.m. here in council chambers.
Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I will move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Regent Claire. I'll second that motion. Would you please call the roll?
Claire,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes. Thank you. We are adjourned.